Namaskar, good evening. You're watching the Newshour at 9 and I'm Swati Joshi. The weather in the national capital is getting cold, but the political temperature is on the rise. There are charges, there are counter charges and some cash in the Christmas clash for the capital. Today we saw a cash for votes charge, showdown over schemes and a sensational claim. In an unexpected turn of events, Delhi government's officials literally declared the schemes announced by AAP to be implemented in Delhi once they returned to power as fraudulent. A few days ago, remember, AAP convener and Delhi Chief Minister Atishi were seen registering people for two of their schemes. Mukhyamentri Mahila Samman Yojana, which promises 2,100 rupees to non-tax-paying women, and the Sanjeevani Yojana, which offers free treatment to those over 60 in both government and private hospitals. Then came a public notice by the Department of Women and Child Development of the Delhi government, declaring that no such scheme had been officially notified. The notice, in fact, warned the people to not engage with any private or political entities collecting forms, collecting data for the scheme, labeling them as fraudulent. This means it's Delhi government officials versus the party ruling the national capital. As expected, this led to a war of words between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress, and then some sensational charges came in. We'll come to those later, but first listen into this.
3-4 दिन पहले हमने 2 योजनाएं चालू की, अनाउंस की। महिला सम्मान योजना, जिसके तहत हर महिला को चुनाव जीतने के बाद योजना लाई जाएगी, जिसमें हर महिला को 2100 रुपए दिए जाएंगे। दिल्ली की कैबिनेट ऑलरेडी हजार रुपए की योजना मंजूर कर चुकी है और उसकी नोटिफिकेशन जारी हो चुकी है। 2.25 लाख बुजुर्गों के रजिस्ट्रेशन हो चुके थे। इस सब से बीजेपी बुरी तरह से बौखला गई है।
बीजेपी का मतलब आम आदमी पार्टी नहीं और अधिक प्रोपेगेंडा है, और फ्रॉड में आपका कोई मुकाबला नहीं। अब आम आदमी पार्टी का सबसे बड़ा फ्रॉड सामने आया है। जी हां, हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट ने, दिल्ली सरकार के ही हेल्थ विभाग ने बताया है कि संजीवनी स्कीम नाम की कोई स्कीम नहीं है।
तो एक तरीके से आप समझ लीजिए ये फ्रॉड है, जो आप टेबलों पे महिलाओं को बुला बुलाकर उनसे दस्तखत करवा रहे हैं। ये मुझे लगता है कि आम आदमी पार्टी का चुनाव के लिए डेटा इकट्ठा करने का एक हथकंडा है।
Now, of course, the big question in the mind of the Delhiites is who should the Delhiites trust? Coming to the sensational allegation number 1, AAP convener and former Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal claimed that Atishi will be arrested soon. As per him, central agencies have been asked to arrest Delhi Chief Minister Atishi and raid the homes of all senior Aam Aadmi Party leaders in an attempt to stop the scheme of free bus ride for women, to disrupt AAP's assembly polls preparation. Listen into these charges.
और अभी 3 या 4 दिन पहले हमें अपने सूत्रों से पता चला है कि ईडी, सीबीआई और इनकम टैक्स तीनों एजेंसीज की मीटिंग हुई है, और उस मीटिंग में ऊपर से आदेश आए हैं कि कुछ भी फर्जी केस करके दिल्ली की सीएम आतिशी जी को गिरफ्तार किया जाए।
दिल्ली में महिलाओं की जो फ्री बस यात्रा चल रही है, उसको रोकने के लिए एक फर्जी केस मेरे ऊपर करने का प्रयास किया जा रहा है। लेकिन हमने आज तक हमेशा ईमानदारी से काम किया है और ईमानदारी से काम करेंगे, और इसलिए मुझे पूरा भरोसा है कि अगर इनकी एजेंसियां मुझ पे झूठा केस करती हैं, मुझे गिरफ्तार करती हैं, आखिरकार सच्चाई सामने आएगी।
Now, what we've heard so far makes one thing very clear, that women voters are extremely important for all the parties. Let's tell you why. Out of 1.53 crore voters in Delhi, 46% are women. And this is how they voted in 2015. 10% women voted for Congress and the share went down to 3% in 2020. 34% voted for BJP in 2015, while in 2020, BJP saw a gain of just 1% women voters. For the Aam Aadmi Party, women voters are very important. 53% women voted for AAP in 2015, and in 2020, this percentage went up to 60%. Now, coming back to the allegations, and this is allegation number 2, a sensational cash for vote charge against the Bharatiya Janata Party leveled by the AAP. After alleging a conspiracy by the centre against Aam Aadmi Party on schemes, Delhi CM has accused the BJP of distributing cash to voters in Arvind Kejriwal's New Delhi constituency. Atishi claimed that the BJP was checking voter cards and distributing money to residents of the constituency from where Kejriwal contests elections. Atishi specifically pointed to BJP's Pravesh Verma, alleging that he was caught distributing cash at his official residence. She said he should be arrested. In response, Pravesh Verma said at least he is not distributing liquor. Listen into another war of words.
आज वहां पर 20 विंजर प्लेस प्रवेश वर्मा जी के घर के सामने कई टीवी चैनल्स ने, कई रिपोर्टर्स ने खुद अपने कैमरा पे कैप्चर किया कि उनके घर से 1100 रुपए कैश बांटे जा रहे थे। मैं इलेक्शन कमीशन को कहना चाहती हूं, अभी गिरफ्तार करिए प्रवेश वर्मा को।
मैं पिछले 11 दिन से जो देख रहा हूं यहां की महिलाओं का दुख, वो केजरीवाल जी पिछले 11 साल से नहीं देख पाए। जो हमारे वॉलेंटियर्स थे उन्होंने जगह जगह पे कैंप लगाना शुरू किया। मेरी लाडली माताओं बहनें वहाँ पर आई और हमने उनके फॉर्म भरे और हमने उनको ये सहायता राशि देनी शुरू करी। एक बात से मुझे खुशी है कि कम से कम मैं यहाँ पे शराब नहीं बांट रहा हूँ।
Now, all these claims and counterclaims bring us to our legitimate question. And the legitimate question that we are asking tonight is, Paisa, Dar and Dhamki is equal to victory. Is this the formula? Is this the strategy? Paisa, Dar and Dhamki, is that equal to victory for the political parties?
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Let's open up the debate and let's go across to our guests. We're joined by Siddharth Yadav, spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. We have Abhijit Iyer Mitra, senior fellow IPCS, Ishkaran Bhandari, advocate Supreme Court, Sanjay Jha, author, Anjali Rai, spokesperson, AAP, Vivek Srivastav, political analyst. Good evening to all of you. Anjali Rai, I'd like to begin with you. Now, the party announces one scheme. The party talks about registration for that scheme, and own government departments say that these activities are fraudulent, that no such scheme exists, no such scheme has been notified. Are the people of Delhi being misled? Who should the people trust now? Who should they believe?
Swati, whatever happened today, 2 incidents happened today, and both the incidents are depicting the nervousness of BJP. They have understood that they are losing Delhi elections. First thing we saw was that Women and Child Department of Delhi government published a public notice distancing itself from the schemes announced by Kejriwal ji. Although there was no need of doing that, you know that before elections, all the political parties makes promises. They promise many schemes, and we also promised Sanjeevani scheme and Mahila Samman Yojana. Similarly, in Maharashtra also, BJP promised Ladki Behan Yojana, and they also started filling the forms of women. But there wasn't any complaint against that. Nobody said that it was illegal. Similarly, we did that. So there wasn't any...
Okay.
Yeah, just a moment. But Women and Child Department did this. Why did they do this? They did this because they were pressurized by the higher authorities. Otherwise, why would they go against the incumbent ruling party? Never has it happened. It happened because they were pressurized by BJP. But actually, I want to thank BJP.
So, you know, who's nervous, who's not nervous, who has been rattled, we'll get to that later, and I'll ask your question to the BJP spokesperson. But ma'am, the Bharatiya Janata Party is also demanding proof. They're saying, yes, as far as the 1,000 rupee scheme is concerned, it was part of the 2024-2025 budget. They got an approval of the Council of Ministers. But the department says there's no notification for the 2,100 additional that you have announced one. They're also saying that all these attempts that are being made to get personal data of people is nothing but a fraudulent activity. Make promises, form government, and then you can distribute and disburse the amount that you're promising?
Listen, Swati, regarding 1,000 rupees, it has already been notified. The cabinet has already passed the notification, and it is under the public domain. And regarding 2,100 rupee, Kejriwal ji made it very clear that this scheme will be introduced once he comes to the power again. after elections.
The disbursement, are you saying that 1,000 rupee disbursement has happened? Are you saying that the registration for that officially happened? Are you saying that?
No, I'm not saying that. I said that the cabinet has approved this and the notice has been issued and it is under the public domain. But whether women are going to get this 1,000 rupees before elections or not, we are not sure. But definitely, if we win this election,
that's where the objection is being raised. Promises that were made already are not being fulfilled, and the promises that you're making now, for which the registration process has already begun, the allegation is that is just for collecting data, nothing else. Let me go across to the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson, Siddharth Yadav. The Aam Aadmi Party leaders are saying there already is a notification for the schemes that they are talking about. You are just raising these objections and making it political because you're rattled. You're rattled that people are now going to perhaps vote in favor of the Aam Aadmi Party given the schemes that you're announcing. And this is all, part of that strategy of the Bharatiya Janata Party to negate whatever Aam Aadmi Party is doing. Respond.
Swati, whatever the Aam Aadmi Party will plan to do or whatever gimmick Arvind Kejriwal comes up with, the people of Delhi are not going to vote for this party. The people of Delhi are fed up. In the past 10 years, there are so many questions which are unanswered. There are so many promises which are unfulfilled. The people were waiting for Aam Aadmi Party and their leader to come out and deliver on those promises, but they have not done so. But I will point by point answer what my friend from Aam Aadmi Party was saying. Now, this is wrong on multiple levels. She was unable to understand why would a government department come out and say that no scheme provision has been made and whatever is being done under the pretext of this scheme is just a gimmick. They are doing so because probably they are truthful officers in Delhi. You need to understand this. You are going to the people. You are not collecting their account numbers. You are not collecting their Aadhaar cards. Probably you'll have to link if you intend to give them money. There is not a scheme which is rolled out. You have not given a single penny from the 1,000 rupees you promised before Lok Sabha polls. Note this. You promised 1,000 rupees before the Lok Sabha polls. You have not given a single penny. But Arvind Kejriwal, the biggest gimmick of Delhi, comes out and says, now the scheme is of 2,100 rupees. ये क्या लोचा चल रहा है? ये किस सर्कस है या दिल्ली है? And then you are going to people, you are making them stand in lines and saying ki just give us your voter ID card. Just give us your voter ID card number and we are giving you this slip. Vote for Jhadu and then we'll deliver it. You were in power for 10 years. You want to compare this to Ladli Behna Yojana? Then go and study the scheme. The installments of under Ladli Behna Yojana were given to the women. Budget provisions were made. The scheme was rolled out. The money was delivered. The provisions, enough provisions along with all other things that the state needs to cater, everything was done and then this happened. Same is with Sanjeevani Yojana.
Okay. No
provision, no notification, no sign, no letter to any authority, nothing doing. You come out and say Sanjeevani Yojana is rolled out. You want to come out with a manifesto and say,
okay, so then Siddharth Yadav, you're calling their announcements and the act of registration of fakery. Please also respond to the allegation of cash for votes leveled against Pravesh Verma, the timing of which is being questioned. He may say that this is part of the service that he does for the welfare of people. But then the Aam Aadmi Party and others are raising, why does the pamphlet have photographs of the minister and the home minister? The timing of it, why the disbursement, the cash disbursement now? Is this not connected, related to the elections?
Swati, Pravesh Verma ji has responded to the questions of media and the questions raised by Aam Aadmi Party. He is not an elected member of parliament. He is not an elected member of legislative assembly. The Delhi is not under election code of conduct. He runs an NGO. The NGO has been doing it for so many years.
Okay.
The NGO is continuing to do it so. And they have a criteria of what to do, when to do, how to do. If he has breached any rule, and I say this on your show, if he has breached any rule, any law of this land, the Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal are most welcome to go and take him to the court. Drag him to the court and question him there. But you want to hide under one NGO's work and say what we are doing to all women in Delhi.
Okay, you are saying that is part of social service. You are saying that is part of social service, but what the Aam Aadmi Party is doing is fakery and misleading people. I want to bring in Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, is this locha happening? Is this a lollipop? What is happening in Delhi? There was a scheme which promised 1,000 rupees will be disbursed. Registration for that has not happened yet. Then now there's another announcement that if we come to power, we'll give you 2,100. The BJP is asking where is the notification? Own government departments are saying no such scheme exists. Now, what do people of Delhi do? Who is misleading them?
So we'll never get to the bottom of this, will we? Because this is clearly a case of not having any proof on paper. When the government department in question issues notification saying no such scheme exists, the chief minister comes out and says that they will take action against them. So you'll see when the court action happens, doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani ho jayega. If there was no such scheme, the court will decide on it. If there was a scheme, the court will decide on it. But let's look at the bigger picture out here. Where is the money for all of this coming from? You know, everybody seems so intent on burning up money. Nobody is talking about the revenue for all of this. Remember, there is no such thing as a free meal. You will either pay for this in higher taxes, or you will pay for this in borrowings, which means higher taxes have to come eventually, or you'll pay for this in terms of inflation. And then when inflation sets in, everybody starts screaming, saying, oh, the blame game starts. This is your fault. This is your fault. This is your fault. There is no end to this. We are going to see a continuous race to the bottom on the lowest level denominator. This is really this is a more sophisticated version of, moonshine, alcohol and biryani before voting day. That's all it really is.
So you're saying, asking rather the people of Delhi to look at the larger picture. Vivek Srivastava does not agree. Vivek Srivastava does not agree with you.
Abhijit. Yeah. Abhijit, suniye, when the same thing is done and we help out the farmers, which we also welcome, when 2,000 rupees are put into the account of the farmers, we welcome. And I believe, as a communist, that welfare schemes in this country for the poor, the women, the needy, and the labor class must happen. If you need to stop, it is writing of the bad loans to the big guys like the Adanis and the Ambanis. Very clearly, number one.
No, as long as you fulfill the promises, there is no problem, Vivek Srivastava. But when you're talking, when you're announcing schemes and saying they already have been notified, and your own departments issue notices and advertisements say that no such scheme exists, तो पोल पट्टी खुलती है कि नहीं खुलती और किसकी खुल रही है फिर क्या चल रहा है मिसकोऑर्डिनेशन है क्या है
I'll tell you what. See, we have always supported the Congress as a left. We have always supported the Congress right from the time of Nehru. Because Nehruji fulfilled what we asked him to do. He was a socialist also, despite the fact that Namudripal's government was taken off by Nehru. Come to Mrs. Indira Gandhi, we requested her nationalize the banks, she did it. Come to Rajiv Gandhi, move ahead. And so, we support anyone who is fulfilling the needs of the common man.
You've always supported Congress. What do you have to say? And let me in fact bring in Sanjay Jha. That very Congress today is saying, Sandeep Dikshit today is saying this is nothing but drama. This is just a way of collecting data of people. That's all that the Aam Aadmi Party is doing. Sanjay Jha, please.
No, give me 10
I'll come back to you, sir. Sanjay Jha.
No. Don't come back to me. Give me 10 seconds.
No, 1 second, please. Let Sanjay Jha come in. I'll come to you. Sanjay Jha.
Ma'am, I have not completed. This is not right. Give me 10 seconds.
I want you because you spoke about the Congress Party's ideology, how you've been supporting. 1 second. Let me invite a reaction and come back to you for a counter. Sanjay Jha, please go ahead. Sanjay Jha.
Yeah, Swati, as far as welfare subsidies are concerned, the fact remains that every political party recognizes today that India is seeing a lot of income inequality. The number of people living in poverty or under poverty line is humongous. And, end of day, whether we like it or not, we keep talking about X trillion economy and the great India story. It can never, ever be fulfilled if we can't lift those who are bottom of the pyramid. So I think anyone here who's being cynical or dismissive about it must ask their own party who talked about reverie, but actually in terms of subsidies, reverie and even robbery from their side. Why do they do that? Because I think it's not just a political compulsion, it's an economic necessity. But the fundamental point of view, asked me why the Congress has been critical. I do believe that the Congress sees itself having an opportunity in the tripartite contest after a long time.
Okay.
And I think that's a political call because AAP and the Congress have been alliance partners of the India entity. However, at the state level, they have to fight independently. And because of the fact that the Aam Aadmi Party may have taken a fair degree of hemorrhaging over the last year and a half, and the BJP continues to be highly
But
suspect.
had it been just limited to that, Sanjay Jha, one understands the politics behind it. One party announces a scheme, the other party, of course, in that competition to woo the vote bank, will announce a counter scheme. Things like that will happen. But to turn around and then say that raids hone wali hai, Anjali ji, that the Chief Minister of the National Capital is going to be arrested now. Is there something that Mr. Kejriwal knows that no one else knows, that these raids are going to happen? Is this not fear-mongering? Are you not just creating this atmosphere that, look, the Chief Minister is going to be arrested now?
Swati, when all the ministers were about to be arrested, either it was Satinder Jain or Manish Sisodia or Kejriwal ji himself, he always warned that they were going to be arrested, and it happened. So we have our own sources. He must have got information from our sources, and I don't think that he is lying. I'm sure
Anjali ji,
about
when
this,
those
I
arrests
guess.
happened back then, it was all in the liquor scam case. Whether it's the bail that has been granted, whether it was the custodies that were being extended, that all happened as per what the court said. Is there something else which we don't know, that only Mr. Kejriwal knows, that he is claiming that Atishi is going to be arrested, the Chief Minister is going to be arrested next?
देखिए वो तो समय बताएगा, because it's not difficult for BJP party to cook cases about anyone in this country. So ये कोई ऐसा आप नहीं कह सकते कि वो झूठ बोल रहे हैं, ये तो हो ही रहा है. वो कहने वाले कि ना खाऊंगा ना खाने दूंगा, लेकिन जो खा रहे हैं उसको अपने पार्टी में ले जाऊंगा. तो ये आजकल तो कोई कुछ रहा
नहीं, ये खाने का एलिगेशन तो आपकी पार्टी पर भी लगा है, जिसको लेकर लोगों को, मंत्रियों को जेल जाना पड़ा. बेल भी मिल गई कोर्ट के कहने पर, लेकिन खाने और खिलाने का एलिगेशन तो लगा है. आई वांट टू ब्रिंग इन Ishkaran also. Ishkaran, the most important thing that we need to understand here, like I said, one understands the politics behind it, but to say that these schemes have been notified and then for the government departments to challenge them, to say that, a particular party has announced this, but there's no existence of such a scheme. In case it exists, we will notify it on our official websites. Is that not misleading the people just for votes?
Please understand that any disbursement of public money has to follow a particular procedure. There are laws in place before you can disburse public money. What is a bureaucrat to do? We saw what happened in liquor scam. So many people had to go to jail and the matters are pending in trial. Same way, if a politician says we will disburse this money, but it has not been sanctioned, they have not notified it, the legal procedures required have not been followed, it is incumbent on the bureaucrat to distance himself. Lest, like in so many other scams of Delhi, he also gets trapped that he did not stop it, did not inform the public, and he was a party to it. So I think the bureaucrat is doing his duty to tell the people, taking out an advertisement, that there is no such sanction scheme. And if you are believing in this, in the world of so many social internet frauds, frauds happening due to technology, it is incumbent and duty to save themselves. As has happened in liquor scam or coal scam, which happened in Congress time, so many bureaucrats went to jail to do that, and that's all that's been done. Whether it is good economics or bad economics can be a debate. Whether it is good politics or bad politics can be debate. But the procedure in which you have to do welfare scheme, procedure by which money can be distributed is not up for debate. That is codified, that is very clear, and that has not been followed in this case.
Vivek Srivastava, the officials, the bureaucrats are just doing their jobs. Is it fair to say that action will be taken against you for doing your job? Vivek ji?
Swati, please give okay, see, I'll tell you what. If you see the track record of the Aam Aadmi Party in the past, it is very clear they have delivered what they had said. I mean, bus service, the DTC bus services are free for the women in the state. We gherowed the secretariat of the Aam Aadmi Party government and we requested them, fought with Arvind and finally obliged. And do you know the minimum wages for a simple helper in the industrial areas of Delhi is 16,500 rupees. You cross over the road to UP or to Haryana, it is just 6, 7, 8,000. That is the difference. So they have delivered. I mean, I welcome it. Women in the city are traveling free of cost. in all the buses, and there are women who travel far from their homes, living in poor colonies, earning merely 8, 7, 9,000 rupees per month. ये 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 रुपए की बचत मैटर करती है उनके लिए।
हाँ बिल्कुल करती है, लेकिन सवाल ये नहीं है कि आप स्कीम अनाउंस कर सकते हैं कि नहीं कर सकते हैं, वो तो हर पॉलिटिकल पार्टी करती है, चुनाव से पहले हर पॉलिटिकल पार्टी करती है।
No, but they can always have a survey done. The Congress is very right. The Congress is very right when it is questioning the modalities. That is what an opposition party should do. But I also say at the same time that it is not a fraudulent way of with the way it is being shown कि आम आदमी पार्टी एक fraud कर रही है. This is not the right way. उन्होंने एक scheme अभी announce करी है. Election का time है. There's nothing wrong in it. You had Ladli Behan. We are giving incentive to farmers also, which we welcome. You must do something for the working class. 4 लेबर कोड मोदी साहब लेकर
नहीं, ऑब्जेक्शन उनका ये है, उनका ऑब्जेक्शन ये है विवेक श्रीवास्तव जी कि इसके लिए जो नोटिफिकेशन की जरूरत है, नेसेसरी अप्रूवल्स की जरूरत है, जो प्रोसेस फॉलो करने की जरूरत है, वो नहीं हुआ है। बट लेट मी टेक योर पॉइंट अक्रॉस टू सिद्धार्थ यादव, विवेक श्रीवास्तव इज सेइंग, look at the shining record of the Aam Aadmi Party. They've always fulfilled every promise that they have made, and it's your bureaucrats who are not allowing the Aam Aadmi Party government in the national capital to function.
Swati, the shine from the shining record of Aam Aadmi Party is so bright that I can't really see it. It's invisible for me. Forget everything else. The 1,000 rupees that they promised, there's an Aam Aadmi Party government in Punjab also in our country. They promised the same in 2022. It's a full state. No approval from anybody else. No blame from, that they can levy on anybody else. Nothing is required. Why are they not giving the money? They did it. They made a pre-poll promise of 1,000 rupees. Why can't they do it? 10 years government in Delhi. Why couldn't you do it? We are not against you giving 1,000 rupees. You do it, but our point is that you are misleading the people of this country. Our point is you're misleading the women of Delhi. You are cheating with them, and then on that basis you're trying to win an election which is not according to the democratic principles of this country.
Okay.
That is the problem, number one. Number two, now Vivek ji can think that all promises are fulfilled, everything that they think, they deliver. Why was Yamuna not delivered?
Okay.
The people of Delhi could not get clean water. The people of Delhi do not have a new mode of transport. The people of Delhi do not have a clean air. People of Delhi are unable to...
Okay, Sanjay Jha is smiling. Sanjay Jha, while BJP says that there are a lot of promises that have not been fulfilled, on top of everything, you have this AI-generated video that projects Mr. Arvind Kejriwal as Santa Claus, who's giving these freebies. I won't call them freebies on Christmas Day. I'll call them gifts, distributing these gifts to the people of the national capital. And when that does not work, when that is challenged by your own department, you come up with this theory saying, see, the ED and the CBI are now going to arrest our leaders.
Swati, I just want to make 2 short points. Number one, I was very amused when the BJP spokesperson talked about the shine part, because the one party that understood that the people can see through the gloss was the people of India in 2004, when the BJP's India Shining campaign, which was a fraudulent campaign built on a lot of statistical gobbledygook, fell flat on their face. But as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, let me make one point very clear. And I have been critical of the Aam Aadmi Party in the past, but there can be no denying that there was a brazen persecution of the Aam Aadmi Party leaders by the BJP. And I think the Supreme Court verdicts in all the cases of the ED or the CBI arrest had to send out a cautionary advice saying that you cannot do what you did, you cannot keep people in jail and have no evidence and no trial. And Swati, I just want to put one thing on the public domain. You go back to that famous case where the gentleman from Hyderabad who turned an approver blamed Arvind Kejriwal but gave a lot of cash to the BJP in electoral bonds.
Okay.
So I think we've seen a lot of dirty, seedy and vulgar politics.
Swati, please let me respond to that.
When you talk about comments on the CBI, one will have to also talk about how CBI was called a caged parrot. One will also have to remind how governments make promises and then, when they're not able to fulfill those promises, those guarantees, they start diverting funds from other departments, as is the allegation that the Karnataka government is facing. Abhijit Iyer Mitra wanted to come in earlier. Go ahead.
The entire conversation on economics has only given you proof why we're still a third world country. All this nonsense about women getting free buses and how it is better for them in Haryana, Remember, it is the slightly higher income ones that take a metro train from Huda city center to town to work that end up paying the price for all of this. All of this gets taxed in indirect taxes. Please don't think the government isn't charging you for it. It gets spread over like what happened with your popcorn right now. You'll pay for it in popcorn. You'll pay for it in metro taxes. You'll pay for it in inflation, which will wipe out your entire so-called subsidy under 2,000 rupees, 1,000 rupees, whatever it is. This is exactly the kind of circular logic which every government in India unfortunately applies, and that is why we will always remain a third world country.
I really appreciate how, everyone else is justifying the stand of their political party.
Just 1 second, Swati.
But you're speaking for the people. Yes.
And just 1 second, Swati. And it is best if communists don't talk about economics, because there is no communist country in existence that has not faced famines, gone bankrupt. China is today looking at a complete bankruptcy of its train sector, construction sector, its banking sector. Literally every single performing sector is on the verge of bankruptcy out there. It is being kept afloat entirely by artificial manipulation. So let's be very clear about this. When we start taking communists seriously on economics, you're going to go down the drain very quickly.
Respond. Now respond, Vivek ji.
You're still trading with China. And let me tell you, Abhijit, let me tell you the economics now. Since you have not worked at the ground level in the JJ colonies and with the poor people and the left does. My economics batata hu, sir. Suniye. Metro ride. You talked of metro ride.
You know the difference between trade and economics.
No, listen. We have written to the metro also, DMRC. And let me tell you, they are charging 60 rupees. We protested when the metro fare was hiked. And labor class people are unable to travel. If you are paying 60 rupees one way, 60 rupees another way, it is 120 rupees. You multiply it by 25 working days. And poor ladies who are housemaids, who are working on very menial jobs, they don't travel by metros. They travel by simple buses. And if these buses are free,
you are pretty much on the same page, because that's what he's saying. He's saying there are no free rides. You are being taxed. You're also being taxed.
Income bracket that pays the price for it in metro fare.
Yes.
And the same economic slot pays.
Okay. One second. Let's come back to the issue at hand. Ishkaran Bhandari, the Aam Aadmi Party would very quickly remind you, irrespective of the conversation that you're having on economics and irrespective of the allegations of them not fulfilling their promise, they'll quickly cite their election record. They'll say people have been choosing us.
See, no, Delhi is a paradox. We have seen the election record in 2014, 19 and 24 also, where everybody gets wiped out and BJP sweeps the board. And it's equally true that in assembly elections, Aam Aadmi Party does well. But we are talking about delivery of promises. In 10 years, the quality of air in Delhi, when you were not in Punjab, you could blame Punjab. Today, why for 10 years the capital we cannot breathe clean air or Yamuna water, no matter what excuses we make. Or the traffic jams. How many new highways have been built? How many new bridges have been built? Flyovers have been built. What is the data on that to decongest the traffic? What is the record on air? What is the record on water? That is all clear. So when we coming to delivery of promises, and I'm not even going into what sheesh mahal you make or security you take. I am talking about basic right to air and water. Delhi 10 years ago was still slightly better than what is happening in Delhi today, and that to me is an epic failure.
Respond,
Election result, Lok Sabha is different, Assembly is different. I don't know what will happen, but air and water is very clear.
Okay, Anjali, respond please.
Yeah, Swati, Kejriwal ji provided a dignified life to each and every citizen of Delhi. Poor people got free bijli, free pani, free medical facilities, good schools, and free rides for women. फ्री तीर्थ यात्रा फॉर एल्डरली पीपल. और आप कहते हैं कि हमने प्रॉमिसेस अपनी पूरी नहीं की. अगर 10 में से 8 हमने प्रॉमिसेस पूरी की तो आप उनको भूल जाते हैं. आप कहते हैं कि हमने इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पर ध्यान नहीं दिया. We constructed 38 flyovers. We constructed 10,000 kilometers of roads. We constructed 4,000 kilometers of water lines. We constructed 6,800 kilometers of sewage pipelines. And you say that we didn't do anything? आप लोग हमें जो कहते थे कि हम रेवड़ी बेचते हैं, हम रेवड़ियां देते हैं, और आज आप हमारी ही कॉपी करके सारे देश में रेवड़ियां बांट रहे हैं. Listen, let me talk, please. Swati, you always interrupt. a right to a dignified life जो है वो हर एक का होना चाहिए, हर इंसान का होना चाहिए, जो नहीं था। अगर हम लोग गरीब लोगों को ये सब दे रहे हैं, आप कहते हैं कि टैक्स देना पड़ता है, हम उससे तो बेहतर है कि हम करोड़ों रुपए का जो टैक्स है वो राइट ऑफ कर देते हैं इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट का, लेकिन गरीब किसान जो है वो आत्महत्या करते हैं, 30 लोग जो है वो सुसाइड करते हैं रोज, उनका हम लोन माफ नहीं करते। अगर हम उसे जस्ट अ मोमेंट लेट मी स्पीक, हम केजरीवाल जी ने
let's take a counter also, ma'am. You've cited a long list. You've cited a long list. You've cited a long list of work that you've done. A long list of work that you've done. I've given you uninterrupted time. Let's take a quick counter because both Siddharth Yadav and Ishkaran want to come in. Siddharth, let's begin with you.
You are speaking yourself.
No, Swati, my friend from Aam Aadmi Party is saying that every citizen has a right to, dignified life. But how do you define a dignified life? You are unable to breathe clean air. Is that dignity? You do not have clean water in your homes. Is that dignity? The one river that flows through the heart of the capital is not clean. It has acid in it. People can't use that. Is that dignity? People do not have access to electricity in major parts. Is that dignity? The tanker mafia in Delhi is 4 times what it was in 2013. Is that dignity? What is dignity?
Okay, but Siddharth, also respond to the revdi culture. Also respond to the revdi culture jibe that the Aam Aadmi Party is taking. You're saying they have been given these freebies and they are creating a culture where they are spending people's money on these schemes just for votes. But other states are following the same. You had the guarantees in Karnataka. You had the Ladki Bahin Yojana, Ladka Bhau Yojana in Maharashtra.
Swati, what has to be understood is that it is the responsibility of every government to ensure welfare, but also ensure development in their state. Now, if the model is like of the Congress party in Himachal Pradesh, that you are unable to give salaries, if the model is of the Congress party in Karnataka, that you say that we will give free bus rides, but the entire bus fares for everybody are going to increase, for petrol and diesel prices for everybody are going to increase. That is not a model for development. That is not a model for welfare, because you are trying something as a political gimmick, but you are ultimately giving more burden on the people.
Okay.
The same is happening in Delhi.
Okay, it's
Delhi
a tried and tested formula, Sanjay Jha. It has worked in the past. Is that the reason why, again, there is this competition, this race to once again indulge in the revdi culture, freebie culture, and that's the truth, the reality of today's politics?
You know, Swati, I'm very amused at the hypocrisy of the BJP. I mean, he talked about the pollution in Delhi. Is that dignity? I agree with him. But can he also explain as to why India has the highest number of polluted cities in the world, amongst the top 30 countries? Around 20 of them are from our country. And can the central government pretend that it's not its responsibility, that it's just a state subject? So I think end of day, even that is dignity, Mr. Siddharth. The bottom line, Swati, is this, that what you're witnessing today is a very corrosive conversation which is based on whataboutery, fake news, allegations, with no one taking accountability whatsoever. And I do believe, therefore, Delhi's citizens have a chance in this election to actually question all the three parties, the Aam Aadmi Party, the BJP and the Congress that I support, because the people of Delhi deserve better than what they have got.
Is that what the people of Delhi are getting though, Ishkaran? What we see again is schemes being announced by the Aam Aadmi Party, their government countering it, and the Aam Aadmi Party saying, this is all happening at the behest of centre. They are putting pressure on the babus to say such things and to issue such notices.
Let me just give you a small example of what has happened to the infrastructure of Delhi. It was alien, it was unknown in areas like Defence Colony, Lajpat Nagar, South East, Jangpura Extension, for basements to be flooded till the rooftop. We saw what happened in that coaching center, how the basement got flooded. But these entire areas, you ask any lawyer, any doctor, anybody living in the basement, how because of chokage, drainage problems, issues, entire basements were flooded, lakhs of rupees lost, files lost, etc., which was definitely not happening 5-10 years ago. So when the basic questions of infrastructure, we can sit here and debate it and cite whatever figures we want to, but the lived-in experience of people of Delhi is very clear of what amount of infrastructure development happened, what is the air we are breathing, what is the water we are getting, and how rampant the tanker mafia is in Delhi. These cannot be denied.
Okay. will anybody touch upon those issues, Vivek Srivastava?
No.
Will anybody touch upon those issues?
Ishkaran, the bylaws of construction you're talking of, they rest with the municipal corporation, not the state government, and it was being run by the Bharatiya Janata Party for a very, very, very long time, which means around 20 to 25 years. Number one. ओके तो वो मत बोलिए आपकी बेसमेंट किसने बनवाई, वो बीजेपी ने बनवाई है। और जहां तक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का सवाल है, देयर इज नो डाउट कि मिसेस शीला दीक्षित हैज टू बी टेकन एज अ रोल मॉडल फॉर कंस्ट्रक्टिंग 72 फ्लाईओवर्स in the city, and we have one of the best transportation networks across the world, not just India.
Okay, I want to bring in Abhijit Iyer Mitra before I wrap up. And last word to you, Abhijit Iyer Mitra, is this what the Delhiites will have to, put up with, irrespective of who's going to win?
100%, Swati. Unfortunately, when we look back at Sheila Dikshit's time, those were the golden days, in a sense, because there was a lot of rot going on underneath, which we never saw, which came and exploded in our faces with the all the scams surrounding the Asian Games. We're just going to get more of this. The same bunch of people saying, why are you going on blaming Nehru, fix it, now comes on this TV show and says, oh, for the last 25 years, it was with the BJP. What have you done to fix it? Nothing. This is going to be a round-robin match of blame game shifting here and there. And in the process, only Delhi is going to suffer. The traffic has become worse. The commutes have become worse. The water situation has become worse. The flooding situation has become worse. The pollution has become worse. What is being done? Absolutely
So you're
nothing.
saying overall the infrastructure is collapsing. But when you put those questions to the Aam Aadmi Party, they'll put the ball in the centre's court. When you ask those questions to the BJP, they'll put the ball in the Aam Aadmi Party's court. The people of Delhi will have to be extremely wise and careful while exercising their right to vote. Look at the pros and cons of what the political parties are offering. Assess for yourself. It's all out in public domain. The claims and counterclaims that are being made. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Sanjay Jha and Vivek Srivastava will continue to be with us on debate number 2.